here, just coming to us out of the DOJ, the Maryland office there indicting one John Bolton. This had been somewhat expected. It was telegraphed to the likes of MSNBC last week. Don't forget, John Bolton's attorney, I do believe he went with the same attorney that Letitia James has, the same attorney, Abby Lowell, that also Hunter Biden had. So, kind of an incestuous little community. They have their friends over at MSNBC. So MSNBC was the first to report this, perhaps just yesterday afternoon, or even as early as last Friday, that this would be coming down. I want to go straight to the White House, the president reacting to the news in real time.
John Bolton was just indicted by a grand jury in Maryland. Do you have a reaction to that?
I didn't know that. You tell me for the first time, but I think he's, a bad person. I think he's a bad guy. Yeah, he's a bad guy. It's too bad, but that's the way it goes.
The case against him?
That's the way it goes, right? That's the way it goes. Will I what?
Have you reviewed the case against him?
No, I haven't. But I just think he's a bad person. Okay.
Yeah, he does think that. He actually didn't like Bolton very much at all, because Bolton's sort of go-to move was always to use force. And that's never Donald Trump's go-to move. Donald Trump's go-to move is to actually do some thoughtful things like, hey, tariffs. Okay, tariffs. We have a lot of financial power. Let's go ahead and use it. He's a businessman. John Bolton is not. John Bolton is much more interested in a use of force. I've actually had this debate before live on air with Bolton. I was once after him saying, well, hey, look, why wouldn't you rather lose dollars than lives? Can't you find a more strategic way to do some of these things? And he was like, hey, you go tell your friend Jamie Dimon from JP Morgan about that and see how he reacts. And I'm like, I'm sorry, when did JP Morgan CEO control the country? I don't think we need to ask JP Morgan's permission for anything. I think the decision should be made by the President of the United States. And in the case of one Donald Trump, he's making decisions that he feels are best for our economy and for our people, and thus sparing the lives, hopefully, of as many Americans. And by the way, people all around the world, here is MSNBC defending, of course, this is priceless, you guys. They are defending John Bolton and saying, well, he doesn't really deserve this. Mind you, the whole investigation was started under the Biden administration. So he was already being looked into. Maybe he acquiesced and he played ball with them, and so they were willing to let it go. Well, it is resurfaced under Donald Trump, because the allegation is that he was taking classified materials and apparently emailing it. Oh, you know how they knew this? Because another country, a foreign actor, probably the Iranians, but I don't know, a foreign actor actually got access to this information, and they're like, whoa, how did that happen? Oh, well, John was emailing it around, maybe trying to score his next book deal. Here we go. This is MSNBC pleading the case as only they can for one Mr. John Bolton.
So we've got us this grand jury, Ken, meeting this hour, about 30 minutes from now or so, all to consider the evidence here against John Bolton. What are the potential charges? What kind of evidence are they working with?
Alex, the potential charges include charges of mishandling classified information under the Espionage Act, and those are charges that carry a penalty of up to 10 years in prison. So this is a very serious case, and they would have to prove that John Bolton willfully kept classified information in a place it wasn't supposed to be. Now, of course, this investigation was generated via a referral by the CIA, and it actually originated during the Biden administration. And we know that there was a foreign government hack of John Bolton's AOL account. We know that from court records. And from my own reporting, I know that the U.S. intelligence community accessed those records when it hacked itself into this foreign government and learned about John Bolton's AOL account and saw some things that made them suspicious that John Bolton was mishandling classified information. That started the investigation. The Biden DOJ did not move forward with this case, but the Trump administration now is. And of course, also hovering over this is the fact that John Bolton wrote a book about his time in the first Trump administration, and the Trump administration at that time accused him of using classified information in that book. He has denied that. John Bolton has said he did nothing wrong, and he believes he's being persecuted because he's been a bitter and outspoken critic of President Trump. But of course, a lot in this case will depend on the evidence. There are career prosecutors working this case. Our sources tell us this is not the same as the James.
Okay, this is important. He goes on to say this is actually a real case. Like, they have a whole lot. Well, of course, their sources are the former Biden administration that was looking into it all.
Case in the case against the New York Attorney General, in the sense that the evidence is so thin that career prosecutors wouldn't move forward with those cases. This is different. This case is believed to be a good case, although, again, John Bolton denies wrongdoing, Alex.
Let me ask you really quickly, if the word intentional is the pivotal word on which this all hangs, if that's proven that it was accidental, does it all go away for John Bolton?
Well, yeah, a mistake is not a crime. And we've seen that in case after case of classified information, including in the Joe Biden case. In the Joe Biden case, actually, the special counsel said that there was some evidence of willfulness. Joe Biden did know at one point that he had classified information. He didn't turn it in, but it wasn't enough to bring charges. Whereas in the Donald Trump case, Jack Smith, the prosecutor, said there was a mountain of evidence of willfulness. So that issue of willfulness, of intentionality, that is a key issue in these classified documents cases.
In the Trump situation, to the point of actually trying to hide boxes of information. All right.
I hate these people, right? Like, he should be off the hook because he didn't really mean to do this. Just like Joe Biden didn't really mean to do this. Although there is some evidence, he was talking about how he had all this classified info. I mean, enough is enough, guys. You know what? I'll tell you this. Donald Trump, not a lot of love lost there for Bolton. I mean, he talks about him. I want to go back to, actually, this is in 2020, June 23rd of 2020. So his administration is winding down. John Bolton had already left. They said, hey, John, you can't publish that book. But John published it anyway. That's not even the worst of it, right? It's not just that he published the book, and that's a problem. It's that he may have emailed excerpts from the book that contain classified information, and that information may have gotten into the wrong hands. And that's why you need to protect these security clearances. You can't go looking for your next book deal just because you happen to be in the White House there taking fastidious notes, Mr. Bolton.
This is a guy with no personality. All he wanted to do is drop bombs on everybody. He got us, he was one of the many people that got us into the war in the Middle East, which was a big mistake. I said to him, let me ask you, do you think, recently, I said, what did you think? He said, I think we made the right decision. I said, you lost me there. It was the worst decision in the history of our country. I know you may disagree with that. Worst, well, now you might agree. At the time, you would have, felt differently. But also, the Libyan model, you know what that means, right? Look it up. One of the dumbest things ever said, I think it was said on Deface the Nation, the Libyan model. He said the Libyan model, that was set us back. You have no idea. John Bolton was a stupid guy, and he was a guy with no heart. And he also had a statement that he would lie whenever he had to. He has that statement. It's a well-known statement. And I fired him, and I didn't think it was a big deal. And I wasn't around him very much. But what he did do is he took classified information and he published it during a presidency. It's not, it's one thing to write a book after, during. And I believe that he's a criminal. And I believe, frankly, he should go to jail for that.
Judge?
Whoa. So, he may be going to jail for that. Again, the news coming down just moments ago, we have learned that the U.S. Attorney's Office in Maryland has moved forward. The Department of Justice is indicting one John Bolton for the mishandling of classified information. And this one's on a whole different scale, allegedly.